This video shows how I select hardwood lumber for a hickory table project from a local vendor, Parkersville Hardwoods in Manchester, Connecticut. My first item was to select some 8/4 or 2-inch thick leg stock for the legs. This hardwood dealer has a selection of cutoffs, and I found some beautifully grained stock to make the legs. Next, I went to their 4/4 or 1-inch hickory lumber area and started to look for boards for the top. Most hardwood dealers do charge a slight premium for boards wider than 8 inches, and my finished dimensions for the top was to be 37 inches long by 28 inches wide. So I wanted a 10-foot long board that was 10 inches wide, so that I could only have 3 boards in width on the top. This would allow me to have very similar grain patterns for the entire top and eliminate difficult grain matching or require staining during the finishing process to get a good color match. You see me looking at many boards, flipping them over. There might be white sap on one section or a bad knot. The other side might be clear. I'll add an allowance for the usual checks at each end of the board that I'll lose. And hello everyone. Following on my video yesterday from Parkersville Lumber in Manchester, Connecticut, I want to show somewhat the final steps in grain selection and how I buy my lumber. I've seen a lot of videos where people have mismatched tops and sides, end up having to do stain and color matching. What we have here are 4 sets of boards. My top board, which will be in 3 lengths, my leg stock, and a piece of lumber that I had left over from another project. These are all hickory, which is a beautiful native wood to where I am in Connecticut and the Northeast. Very, very hard. You need sharp blades, joiner knives, planer knives. But what you can see is that I've spent about 2 hours yesterday picking out this lumber, so that the general tone of it all matches. So this will be 3 lengths of the top. I need a 22-inch top, and this board is 10.5 inches. So I'll easily get my 28 inches, planning on jointing off some of the sides. The first real big step in doing this properly, especially from a long board, this is about 10 feet, is to cut the boards into rough lengths and let them acclimate. So wood always has stress in it, and if you were to immediately cut this, plane it, joint it, edge joint it, it could still twist on you. So what I will be doing is cutting these into approximately 37-inch lengths, making sure that I'm avoiding the normal checking at either end of the board, and letting those sit. The leg stocks I just need to cut in half into rough length. Again, I will do the same thing. These boards are 3.5 by 2, just shy of 2 inches. My final leg stock will be 1.5 inches square by 28.25. I like to have tables a little bit lower now. The general sort of theory is that tables were too high in the past, so I make my tables at about anywhere from 29.5, 29.75. I rarely go up to 30 unless a client is quite tall. So these boards will get split down the middle, cut to length, and again acclimated. Given that these are much, much thicker, they will almost definitely twist or bow or have some stresses in them, because this is what's usually called 8/4 lumber. So I will let these sit for about a week before I touch anything. What I will do now is roughly mark off these boards. There is a large knot in here. I will leave, this is actually very secure in here, so I will put some epoxy. I always keep some fine dust from each species, so I have a jar of hickory dust. I will put a little bit of dye and fill this in with hickory dust and some epoxy. Let that cure for the week that these sit, and then when I plane this down and joint a face, it will be very smooth. I actually like these. There's some beautiful grain around all of these. This was, there was a branch somewhere coming out here. So what I will do now is, looking at the end of the board here, there's some checking. So I'm going to mark that. And then up here, I will mark this. Obviously there's some sapwood here that I don't want. I've planned for that. So this 37-inch length will be a little bit shorter. I will plan to get only about 9.5 out of this, losing an eighth here and cutting off all the sap. So I'm going to do a 37-inch length here. My final board is only 36, so that gives me a good allowance. I will do another 36.5, 37, and then a final board, which is 37 again. These boards, the same thing. There doesn't seem to be any checking. There's some sort of stuff going on here on the edge. That won't be a problem. But I will mark for a 29-inch board. I like this. It's a little bit lighter at this end. So I'm going to mark a 30-inch here. And I will check this board as well. Usually I like to have the grain coming downhill if it's at all possible. So you'll see this is spreading out a bit. So I'm going to mark this as being the top. And I will go down again 29 inches. And then I'm going to split this in half. So I'm going to do a cut at, this is 3.5, so about 1.75 inches. So I'll easily have room to joint and plane this square to get my 1.5 inches. I'll do the same thing here. This board is a little bit narrower, so I'm going to do about 1 5/8 inches. Again, I'll easily get my 1.5 inch square. This board is for the front drawer, and I'm going to do continuous grain, so there'll be a top rail and a bottom rail, and I'm going to cut that from a single board. I like this the most because it is closer to this. Again, there's no checking on this, so those boards I need a 29, and I'm going to do a 30 from there. And then the sides, I'm going to do 22s. So I'll do 2 22s, and then I'll do the back, which is a 29-inch. This has, it's not really sap, it's just lighter wood. Still kind of pleasing. So that will be a 29 here. So I will rough cut these with my battery-powered saw. Has a fairly fine blade because I don't want a lot of chipping out on this. Again, these boards will sit. I will split this, cut those, and let them stack here. I will probably sticker them so that there's kind of even airflow. These are kiln dried. These come again from a wonderful hardwood dealer that I have, Parkersville Lumber in Manchester, Connecticut. I'll put a link to their site. They carry a lot of specialty woods, all the usual white oak. They carry curly maple that I used for my custom side tables. They carry bird's eye maple, which I used for a project for a client's jewelry chest on legs, kind of a Krenoff style. They have walnut, they have cherry. The thing I like about this dealer is they do allow you to take cuts from very long boards as long as you leave 4 feet. That's very rare that people don't make you buy a board as is. And they have a whole section of what they call shorts. So normally at other lumber yards, I would need to buy an 8/4 board, maybe 6 feet, 8 feet. Very expensive, and I don't keep a lot of lumber in stock. I like to buy it when I need it. These were both shorts. They're well priced. Again, they come from cutoffs from other clients. But the fact that I could pick up two beautiful boards for leg stocks and not have to buy a big board and not have to have waste or to spend time is really wonderful, which is why I like Parkersville Lumber in Manchester. So I will rough cut these now, and then I will be back in about a week or so, and I will start milling these up. I think there are tons of videos on milling boards, so I won't bore you with those. I will make a sled. My jointer, even though I have a helicoid cut joiner, is only 8 inches, and I do not want to cut these down. So I will, once they're cut to length and acclimated, I will run them through the joiner. I will get an edge, and then I'll just put them on my sled on my helicoid cutter planer and plane those down. For the top, I'm looking for somewhere between 3/4 and 7/8 maybe, so a little bit over. These 1.5 inch square, and these 3/4 is fine. I will glue up some excess hickory on the back of the two rails, top and bottom. So you'll see that there's going to be a rail here and here, and I don't want this to be just 3/4 by 3/4. So I will glue up another piece of hickory on the back, glue that up, and then I will have two strong points for dominoes on each corner into the leg. So I'll be back in a week. I hope this has been helpful, and I will put links to Parkersville Lumber in the video, and please ask any questions, like and subscribe. Thank you.